The good news is we still haven't lost since that opening day defeat to Liverpool. But the bad news is that we have drawn 4 of our last 5. Our rock-solid defence doesn't seem to exist quite as much as it used to. And we don't seem to be able to outscore the opposition despite playing 3 strikers. So if you've watched me for long enough, you'll know what that means. It means it's time for a little tactical tweak. How you doing, everybody, and welcome to part 4 of Club 4 here on MyCareer on FM23. I'm Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video, where we've got games in the Premier League against Everton and the EFL Cup semi-final against Birmingham City. It's an all-blue episode with Everton, Birmingham and Chelsea. And if you're excited to see how we get on in this game and the next game as well, then please do not forget to leave a like on the video for me and subscribe so you don't miss any of the nonsense that comes out of this space right here. Nonsense on a regular basis. Since you were last with us, it's been fine. We haven't lost, but we have kind of come a little bit unstuck in the last couple of games. As you can see, there's a 4-point gap between ourselves and Spurs now, which is not ideal. But yeah, I mean, the last time you saw us was around this period here, and we've had some good results in here. Beating Man City in the FA Cup. I think you guys are aware of that. We beat them in the league as well. I think it was around these games, actually, you saw. It was after that period, everything kind of started to go a little bit wrong. We did beat Newcastle. We were against Stoke. We did then get past Norwich, but it was very tight. And we haven't won since. So Bosley got 2 against Spurs to really bail us out. Pinamonti got 1 against Leicester. And then a really frustrating game against Arsenal where we made a comeback, but we went around the houses with the formations in this one. At one point we had 4 at the back, a defensive midfielder, 2 attacking midfielders and 3 strikers. So today we are trying something ever so slightly different. But before I quickly show you that, I want to show you a transfer that we do have on the way in and one that we have on the way out. So on the way out, Calvin Bassey. He's joining Lyon for, I can't remember how much he was, but it's around 15 to 17 million pounds, maybe 18 million, 17 and a half actually. Yeah, wonderful. And then we're signing this guy, Jeremy Alberghi from Frankfurt. I looked at him at Southampton and I wasn't 100% sure on him, but actually he's grown a bit since then and he's still got decent potential. Potentially a 4-star player. I'm okay with that. He'd come in. I mean, that's a bit deceiving because it says Reece James and Balearic are 2 of our best centre-backs. They're not centre-backs. So, Jurriën Timber, who's a defensive midfielder, really, and Eric Garcia are allegedly better than he is at centre-back, but then he's the next best one. So, he'd be better than Jurica, better than Silva. That makes me happy. The only thing that might be an issue is that he may have issues with living in other countries. We'll see how he goes. But I quite like the look of him. I mean, his tackling is great, his marking is great. He's 6'5". He's relatively quick for that height. He's got good strength. Passing isn't terrible. Positioning's pretty decent. Composure's not the best. Bravery's not the best. Aggression's not the best. But you know what? I can kind of live with those. And also, he's 24. He's got room to grow. But he's got 48 caps for Belgium. He's got to be at least half decent. And other clubs were in for him as well. Munich are in for him. But they haven't actually made an offer. Now, we have made a contract offer. I think we're awaiting his work permit. We are. So he is more or less through the door. We then have a little bit of money left over, but it really isn't a lot. But then we will have Calvin Bassey's wages to play with as well. We have also made up with Julian Alvarez. He's no longer unhappy, which is nice. So that's a good thing, but we still might try and move him on, especially if we go with this formation, because we don't need as many strikers. So we're going to go with 2 up top. It's going to be a 4-1-3-2, which I'm led to believe is a bit of a Football Manager legendary formation. Maybe not necessarily with these roles, but we're going to give it a go. And this is the 11 that we're using for this game. It's Maximiano in defence, James, Garcia, Silva and Boa in defence, Balearic with the holding midfield position supporting Mount, Bentancur and Szoboszlai in the midfield with Skinner and Ratcliffe up top. That English connection up top, I really want to exploit. That's the partnership of the future once Pinamonti has moved on. Pinamonti hasn't had a good last couple of games. He did score in one before last, but I'm giving him a bit of a break in this one. Hishek really hasn't got into the team as well. And the reason why we're starting Maximiano is because Dumitru has a slight injury. Also, injury-wise, Lewis Murray's out with a cold or virus or something along those lines. The flu. That was it. And Van Eijden and Jurriën Timber are both out. I can't remember whether these had happened before. Timber's out for 3 months. Van Eijden is out basically for the season. He's out for the next 5 months. That puts it to May. You don't have him for the rest of the season. And he was playing all right. That's really annoying. Let's play some football, shall we? We need to give a squad number to our reserve goalkeeper. That's fine. You can have the number 65 because why the devil not? So, yeah, again, I don't want to oversell that it's been a bad period. It's not necessarily been that bad, but it is what it is. It's fine. But I'd like to be winning rather than be drawing. So, nah. We'll see what happens today. The one thing that has concerned me in the last few games is that we do tend to concede first. So I'm hoping that today maybe we can get in there before they can. Everton currently are a mid-table team, so they're not necessarily a bad team at all in this league. But I'd like to think that maybe, just maybe, we are better than them. We know we're better than them. We just need to actually show it. Right, Bentancur over to Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai now looking for options. Saward makes a good tackle, but Bentancur is there. Playing him because of, I can't remember the exact reason why we're playing here. But the formation we're playing today really doesn't have an ideal. Skinner's in here. Skinner's gone and scored. That's delightful. We don't necessarily have the personnel to use this formation. Szoboszlai ideally would be playing in the middle where Bentancur is, and he'd be playing as a deep line playmaker, and I think he would do really well there. And then in Szoboszlai's current position as an attacking Mezzala, I'd be using either Lewis Murray or the... I can't remember the guy's name, but he's one of the English talents that... I say English talents, he's the 3-star potential player. But he's an English kid who grew up in Chelsea in this save. He's a guy who came through their youth academy. And, you know, he can play a Mezzala relatively well. He can play as a deep line playmaker relatively well. So, we've had to botch it a bit with Bentancur as a ball-winning midfielder in the middle, just in front of Balaric. But, do you know what? Seems to have worked so far, and it's Szoboszlai with the assist as well. Good times indeed. But I've known since we kind of bought the players that the future is going to be a Skinner-Ratcliffe partnership of some description. I have known that, but... oh my word. I didn't think I'd get... I say forced into it. I haven't been forced into it, really. I've decided to do it because of the drop in form of Pinamonti the last couple of games, and also just because the other formation just really wasn't getting there. Szoboszlai very close with the free kick there. So I'm kind of looking at this now thinking I'm really glad we didn't sell Szoboszlai, because if we had done, we'd be a bit in trouble. Now, transfer plans going forward. I am debating maybe selling Jurriën Timber, because I've got Quentin Timber as a backup to Balaric, and Jurriën, as good a player as he is, doesn't really fit into my team. Okay, he can be a backup right back and left back, but I've already got backup right backs and left backs. Okay, he's probably better than all of them, but he is older as well. And I kind of want to refresh the squad sooner rather than later. That's some lovely passing there. And somehow, some way, he doesn't get bundled in the back of the net. But that was some lovely passing work there, and that's what we want to see. So, I'm debating it because he will raise a decent amount of funds, and then those funds really don't have to be used for a replacement. They could be used elsewhere in the team, like a more attacking-minded central midfielder. We've got defensive midfielders for days, but really we could do with someone of a Mezzala nature. I'm debating, if we could afford him, Diego Tapia. Now, it's whether we can afford him, and also, I kind of earmarked him as a playmaker more than anything, so I don't necessarily know whether that would be the right thing to do, but we'll certainly consider it. But we actually need to make a sale first. I haven't even put him up for transfer yet, because the idea has just come into my head. We're playing quite well, but we haven't scored that second goal, which is a bit of a concern. I would very much like to get it. But we have the ball. Eric Garcia out to Reece James, back to Garcia. Our centre defenders are just an enigma at the moment, which is the reason why I've kind of looked at Alberghi, because they have a good game individually, and in the next game they're awful. And there's basically a holding pattern of that, and it's so consistently inconsistent with all of them that I don't really know what to do other than sign someone else. I thought Antonio Silva had found a wonderful pass there, but he hasn't, and Everton now come forward. We're not actually tackling this guy at all, which is a bit frustrating. And Everton retain possession, but the highlight, fortunately for us, does end. And we get the possession back in the next highlight. Yay! Right, Balaric now into Bentancur. Bentancur looking for options, goes short to Skinner. Skinner to Szoboszlai to Ratcliffe. And that is lovely passing, and Mason Mount really should be making it 2-0. We've had some great chances, but things like that do keep happening, and it's a bit frustrating. Mason Mount, by the way, could also be someone to play in that deep line playmaker role. He is good enough at the pass, and he's actually not very good at carrying the ball. So that would actually make a lot of sense for him to go there. But again, we still need to bring in a Mezzala. And again, Jurriën Timber at the moment is the guy I'm looking at thinking we could use him as a fund maker, basically. But he's a good player still, so I'm a little bit reluctant to do that. We've done really well in that half, other than getting more goals. But it is a new system. We haven't played this before. Literally, I haven't used this formation at all. So I'll give them a little bit of... Cut them a bit of slack, is what I'm trying to say. I'll cut them a little bit of slack. And let's just go again in the second half. We're actually going to go attacking as well, because we should be beating this lot. So Meslier with the goal kick for Everton. We win possession back. Szoboszlai now looking for options. Can't get it forward though. Skinner now trying to block off a pass. Doesn't. And here they come again. And Ratcliffe did make a decent attempt at a tackle, but didn't actually get it in there. Boa does stop the cross. Bentancur now with the ball. And we go again. Bentancur, he's not having a great game. He's one of his better games for us. Mount now looking for Skinner. Skinner takes it down. Skinner going for goal. Probably should have thought about trying to make the pass there. But I can forgive him. He did score the goal that put us in the lead. And it is still 1-0. Right, Reece James with the throw in to Balarik. Balarik to James, whipping it in, looking for Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe doesn't get on there, and Kyo George now running forward. Doesn't have a lot of support though, and we do get our numbers back, but Everton retain possession. Two things I'd like from this game. Number one is definitely a win. Anything else doesn't really matter, but I'd really, really like a clean sheet as well. Even though it wouldn't be for our usual goalkeeper, Dumitru, Maximiano, I'm still quite happy for him to have a clean sheet here and for us to have one in general, because it just feels like it would get us back on track. Skinner's in now. Skinner going to go for goal himself more than likely, and he does get the goal. And it's another assist from one of our two Mazzalas. This time it's Mason Mount, and I feel a lot better already. And this is an Everton team again who are mid-table. These are no slouches, but it is a team we should be beating. And I am happy to see the way that we are playing. This is the way I've kind of wanted us to play. And it's lovely passing. And, okay, Ratcliffe's been a little bit forgotten about in this game. I don't really mind, because he's probably helping creating a lot of space for Skinner. But in some games, he'll be the guy who's creating the chances. And that is okay by me. We have another throw in. James now. Balarik again into Bentancur. Bentancur really bit loose on possession, but gets lucky, wins it back. Eric Garcia now the only guy back for us at the moment, which is a bit of a concern. Mount looking for Szoboszlai, and Szoboszlai very, very close there, but doesn't get it in the back of the net. And Everton looking to come again. Again, not much support from them. They're dillying on the ball a little bit, and then the highlight does end. And I think it is substitute o'clock because we are tiring. Right, what do we do? Szoboszlai is very, very tired. So Nicholas Harris is the guy I was trying to think of earlier. We'll bring him on, give him some football. He hasn't really played a lot for us, but this system will get some more out of him. And then we've got 3 strikers on the bench, and I don't have 3 strikers worth of room on the pitch, but I am going to take Carl Ratcliffe off for... I think we'll bring on Hishek. He's not going to be overly happy about playing in that position. He wants to be an advanced forward, but you know what? Do you know what? Actually, let's give him a chance. Let's give him an opportunity as an advanced forward. Sure. Why the devil not? And then I think we'll make another change. And that change is going to be for fitness, because everyone else is playing pretty well, actually, all things considered. Balarik not having the best game of his life. Who is playing as an anchorman, by the way. Never used an anchorman before. He did very well in the Arsenal game with it. It's apparently his best position, so I'm giving him a chance in there. We'll bring David Raum on at left back and give our boy out wide a little bit of a break, because he has earned it. So let's see if we can get another goal and just cement this now. Right, Mason Mount with the corner. In what our players are doing, I don't really know. It's far post to Skinner, but actually it's Nicholas Harris, who's just come off the bench. The Chelsea boy has gone and scored. It's 3-0. That'll do plenty. Lovely corner from Mason Mount. I don't know what the setup is here and why we're going to the far post, I don't know. But Nicholas Harris is there just to get it in the back of the net, and I'm very happy with that. 3-0. I feel calmer now. I feel much calmer now than I did before the episode, because our form really has just tanked in the last few games since the last episode. So I feel better. I feel more positive going forward. Right, final couple of changes. Quentin Timber's going to come on for Balarik. We'll give him a bit of a break. I'd love to bring one of these guys off, but obviously we don't have the personnel at the moment. 2 goals for Skinner. I can't take Skinner off when he's on the hat-trick. I just can't. So we'll take Reece James off. Bring Ed Milson on. Give him some football as well. Julian Alvarez really should get on the pitch at some point, but again, not enough strikers anymore. If we can round this off with the 4th goal, I'll be happy. But to be honest, I'm delighted with what we've got. We do have a free kick here. Mason Mount to take. Is he going to try and cross, or is he going to go for the shot? I think he's going to go for the shot here. He did, and he hit the crossbar. Very unlucky there from our captain, who never left for Manchester United. But that, I think, is going to do it. I think that is the end of the action. Skinner will end with 2 goals. Mount will end with 2 assists. And an assist for Szoboszlai and a goal for Harris in there as well. 3-0. That was really nice. That is what I want to see. And maybe, just maybe, this is the formation. The 3 strikers was working for us at the start. Don't get me wrong. We saw what it did against Arsenal right at the beginning of the season. But all of a sudden, that formation just feels like it's lifted us a little bit. So maybe, just maybe, we go with that. And we just figure out how to get a good game out of Ratcliffe in this formation. I mean, apparently he should be an advanced forward. Don't know if I agree with that necessarily. I still think a deep line forward is going to be best position. He doesn't agree with that, obviously. I mean, his finishing being 12, just... I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. But then, I suppose, what we could do is do that, and then we just make sure he's on shoot less often. I'm happy for him to take risks with his passing, because his passing is not that bad. I think it's 14, 15, something like that. Passing's 14, vision 17, flair 16. Quite happy for him to do what he wants in terms of passing, if I'm honest. So, yeah, do you know what? Sod it. Let's just put him up there, and let's just see what happens in the next game, which is against Birmingham City, by the way. So, I will see you for that game, and fingers crossed, A, we've got a new player in, and B, don't stuff it up. Welcome back for the game against Birmingham City in the EFL Cup quarter-final, and this is the 11 that we're going to be using to hopefully win that game. It is Dimitri, who has recovered from his injury, in goal, with Reece James, Eric Garcia, Antonio Silva and Marlon Boa in defence. Balarik is the anchor man again, with Mount, Harris and Szoboszlai. In fact, no, do you know what? Balarik isn't, because we were going to rest him. Quentin Timber is going to be the holding midfielder. Bentancur is going to be his alternate, and we don't really have anyone else. So we'll keep Balarik on the bench, just in case. But it's going to be Quentin Timber as the anchor man, followed by Mount, Harris and Szoboszlai in the midfield. That trio I was on about, with Harris as the deep line playmaker, because Szoboszlai did so well last time out. And they are supporting Ratcliffe and Pinamonti, with Ratcliffe as an advanced forward, with the adjustments on his playing instructions to try and get him to do the thing I want him to do. So, let's get into the game and see what we can do, and hopefully we can get the win. By the way, Albergi has signed a contract. He hasn't joined us yet because we're not in the transfer window, but he will be with us soon. What they can do, I want to bring your attention to two former alumni of Stubo FC, as I like to think of it, the club that would be formed if we had all of our players that we've ever used. Josh Benson, Zach Emerson, both former players at Tranmere. Good to see Zach, good to see Josh. I'll be honest with you, I'm more excited to see Zach Emerson. He has got like 9 in 18 or something like that, so he's got a decent record for Birmingham City at the moment. Bit gutted he's gone to Birmingham City, but hey ho, go where the money is, don't you? If you don't know, I'm a Villa fan, that's why I say that. But let's get into the game. Let's see if we can somehow, I say somehow, let's see if we can beat them, shall we? We have got a much better side than them. We should be absolutely dominating them, which is, of course, why they had the first shot on target. Come on, lads, let's go and get a handful. I would quite like a handful. A hatful, isn't it? The saying is a hatful. I don't know where a handful came from. I'd quite like a hatful. That sounds like more. We are battering them, but they are actually doing quite well at keeping the ball out of the net at the moment. So, fair play, Birmingham City. But I would like to see us get a goal in this first half, if it's okay, game. Back now. No? No? Oh, okay, fine. No goals in the first half. Well, that was very uneventful. Not happy with you, boys. You can do better. You can do better. Not good enough. Right, let's go to attacking. And also, we're going to distribute to the centre-backs as well, because they are only playing with the one striker. They'll be very, very happy with how this has gone so far, and they'll know that we're not. Timber's not having the best of games as the holding midfielder in the anchorman position. I'm actually going to change it to a half-back. I think it will suit his way of playing a little bit more. So, let's demand more from the boys. Let's try and score, shall we? Quentin Timber, we'll keep an eye on him. We can always bring him off for Bentancur and Bentancur or Bentancur? We've got Bentancur, haven't we? I always get those two mixed up. But we've got Bentancur on the bench. We can always swap him in if we need to. And we can always change it to a ball-winning midfielder. What a lovely ball that is to Carl Ratcliffe. And Carl Ratcliffe, I'd love him if he put the ball in the back of the net, as he has done. 10th goal of the season for Carl Ratcliffe. It's not necessarily a good game to judge whether him playing as an advanced forward with player instructions is going to work for him, but it's nice to see him put the ball in the back of the net like that. So Szoboszlai gets it to Harris. Harris looks up, sees the ball. It's a really good advert for Harris playing in the side as well, that he got that ball in. But again, it's against a championship team. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but we do finally go ahead at St Andrews, and it is 1-0 to Chelsea, as it should be. And I felt much more relieved in the last game. I did look at this one thinking that's a banana skin, but going ahead does make me feel better. But of course, the game is not over yet. I will definitely want at least 2 more goals or I will sit back and relax. Speaking of which, it's substitute o'clock. Pinamonti has not had a good game, so he's going to come off. We're going to bring on Hezek. I just want to get him some more football. And I think as well, I'll leave Timber on. Mason Mount is tiring. I think he might come off for Benton Kerr. Yeah, we'll do that. I was having a half a moment to think about it then. And we'll put Harris out wide. And we'll keep Benton Kerr on. Got him on centre mid on support. He did really well with that last time out. Boslai's tiring as well. I don't really know what we'll do about him because we don't really have the personnel for it. I might move Timber up and then... Oh, I don't know. We'll get to that when we get to it. We'll get to that when we get to it. But let's see whether these guys can have any impact on the game as well. I'd like to see Hezek have a decent game. He's had one or two good ones, but he's not really featured enough to actually get us anything. It's a really poor attempt at a long throw. And Benson Kerr now on the ball, looking for options. He has got Harris with him. Harris doesn't really get anywhere. Hezek in, puts it across to Ratcliffe, and Ratcliffe actually gets a second. And Hezek, even though he is playing as an advanced forward, and I would very much prefer him to be a deep line forward, he did a very good job there. Benton Kerr and Harris running alongside each other here. I don't really know what Harris is doing. Well, Benton Kerr's in Harris's position, to be fair. So I can understand why Harris was there. Benton Kerr probably was taking up his space. I think Harris could have given him room. Either way, it worked though, because Ratcliffe put it in the back of the net at the end of the move, and Hezek has got an assist. So it is 2-0. That does make me feel a little better. Right, substitute o'clock. We're going to take off Edmilson. We're going to bring Rahm on as well for Boa. And then for our final trick, I'm looking at Sabazlai. We've only really got Balaric who can come on for him. What about if I do that? No, not really. Oh, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one because Reece James could have stayed on. Really, we could have probably done with that. I mean, I could really, if I wanted to, go to an out-and-out diamonds, and that would solve the issue because I could always bring Alvarez off the pitch. Oh, sorry, off the bench onto the pitch. I could always do that. Do you know what? We're going to do that. We'll swap you 2 rounds. Have you be a centre mid on support over here. And we'll pop you there, and we'll bring Alvarez on. And we'll just go extra attacking, because why the devil not? Sure. I mean, not that we need another striker on the pitch, but let's just throw another striker on the pitch. Right, Round with the throw. Gets it to Timber. Timber, back to Round. Whipping it in, looking for Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe just heads it over. Would be nice for him to get a hat-trick today, but I'm not going to be upset if he doesn't. I'm just happy he scored a couple. Very, very happy with how he's done today. He's kind of answered a couple of criticisms I've had of him. Put him up in the advanced forward position, and he has proven himself right, to be fair. He's told me it's his best role, and he has acted on it. Right, Hezek has come deep here. Looking for Alvarez. Alvarez now. Looking for options. Gets it to Ratcliffe. Gets it to Harris. Harris, can he get it back to Ratcliffe? Can't quite. Edmilson now on the ball. What's he going to do? Into the box. It's in there. Ratcliffe was there. Could have tried to go for the hat-trick. Doesn't get there, though. And the highlight ends. And I think that is going to be that. We've got one more highlight. Alvarez whipping it in. Looking for Eric Garcia. Can't find him. No scramble. Putting it in the back of the net. And somehow we've got another highlight. Will we have time to get a third? We might, you know. It is a throw-in. Edmilson to take. We've got a minute left in the game. Goodness me, this game is heavy on the highlights towards the back end of the game. There was not a single highlight in the first half. What's going on? Right, Edmilson to Eric Garcia. Garcia now into Benton Kerr. Benton Kerr tackled, loses possession, and big ball forward to Williams. Raum is there with him. Raum does get the ball, and we have 30 seconds left. Antonio Silva now goes back to Dimitri. Dimitri launching it forward, looking for Harris. Harris heads it, trying to get it through to Alvarez. Sessignon intercepts though. Birmingham City do have a chance to get back here, but Benton Kerr now on the ball with 20 seconds to go. Big ball out wide. I mean, it was a wild one, and it didn't get to Edmilson, but Edmilson now has possession. Dimitri now. He's giving the ball away here, but Dimitri gets back onto it. Nearly a mistake from Dimitri, and that has got to be timed, surely. What a weird set of highlights that was to end the game. But we do end it with another win. Carl Ratcliffe with 2 goals, Hezek and Harris with assists. Good to see Harris getting on the assists as well as Hezek. Very good indeed. And that puts us through to the semi-final in our first season at Chelsea of the EFL Cup. But remember, all this is build-up to getting this team back to the Champions League. I haven't really talked about it that much since we got here. But we're here to win the Champions League again. And Chelsea are a team with Champions League pedigree. So, you know, it can happen. Southampton had to get through penalties against Bournemouth. Goodness me, Southampton. Oh, that's a tough one. That is a very, very tough one. But we do get through. We are missing both in the next game, but he needs a rest anyway, so that's okay. West Ham will just have to do without him. But that is that. And this is how the Premier League table is looking. Second in the league. Tottenham have 1 game in hand over us, but we're only 1 point behind as things stand. And that is how stats look. Felicia, the guy who we really wanted to sign, doing really, really, really well for Spurs. I'm very, very annoyed because I really, really wanted him and we didn't get him in the end, but he's doing very, very well for Tottenham. In terms of goal scorers, we have got people on the list. Skinner's there with 9, Ratcliffe's there with 7, Pinamonti's there with 8 as well. So very happy to see those guys. Pinamonti's actually second on the list of assists. He's third on best players in the league. Maybe I've been a bit harsh on him actually, so maybe we need to give him a few more opportunities. But that is going to do it for this video. So when are we going to be back? I reckon we should probably, well, I think we already discussed this, but we'll come back around here, I think, especially with the EFL Cup semi-final now confirmed. I don't really want to play Man City again when we played them so recently on camera, so I think we'll do Watford and the semi-final of the EFL Cup. Do an all-cup special in the January transfer window, and we'll see whether we've had any movement on Julian Timber. The issue is going to be he is injured for at least 6 weeks, which would take it to the end of the January transfer window minimum. If it's 2 months, we don't get it done this season and we have to wait for the summer. But the plus side is we'll have Julian Timber available as a squad player, so I'm okay with that. The other option would be to try and resell Quentin Timber. I mean, we brought him in for 25 million. If we could convince him that we don't want him anymore and that he should probably leave and get anywhere near that money for him, again, investing that money back into the squad, I would be okay with. And I'd be okay with investing it into the midfield and just strengthening that a little bit. So, things to think about. But that is going to be for the next video. So, until then, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to leave a like on the video for me if you have enjoyed. And also don't forget to subscribe. It's completely free to do so and you'll make me a very happy chap. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome. And I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.